Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the best betting show on YouTube. I'm here joined with Matt once again, giving you guys the best bets for week 3 of the NFL year. Now, last week, and I'll pull up the spreadsheet for you. Last week, I had a fantastic week. I am up about $1,300 from what I was in week 1, bringing my total to about $1,200 in the year. Matt, you kind of had a very similar week that you did week 1. You kind of steady gaining like $500 a week. That's a good strat, honestly. So how'd you feel about your week 2?
I mean, overall, in the first 2 weeks, I've really liked how my weeks have gone. I feel like they were pretty safe bets for the most part, taking home 500, a little over 500 each of those weeks. And honestly, I'm feeling pretty good because if you're just consistent, you're just kind of safe. Last week, I had 3 games I really liked. The first week, I think there was 2 games I really liked. I hammered those, and it's worked out really well so far. So I will say week 3 is a little bit different, but so far we're rolling really good. And I did also notice, Mike, this week we do have quite a bit more overlap than we've had in the past weeks as well.
We definitely do. I also think it's worth mentioning about week 2. We both hit our parlays, so that is another thing that is pretty significant. But yeah, we do have a lot of overlap this week. But one that we don't overlap. This is a game that I'm not really touching just because I think the line is a little high. But I also wouldn't be surprised if it hit Thursday night. I know you have the 49ers, so you want to talk about that for a second?
Yeah. So Thursday night, obviously we're recording this on Thursday, so I think a lot of people I think it's coming up on Friday morning, so a lot of people aren't going to see this, but I'm taking the Niners. I think I have the Niners in my parlay as well. We'll talk about the parlays later, but Niners minus 10.5. They won last week by 7, but they were up by 10 with like 3 seconds left.
McVay killed the spread there at the end.
Yeah, McVay killed the spread. I bet them on by myself on a teaser. Overall good week though. So I mean, it's been kind of the same thing. I don't know if I've bet on the Niners yet. I think this is the first time I've bet on them. No Saquon. I want to say a tackle's out. I think
no Andrew Thomas. Yeah,
Andrew Thomas is out. The Niners should kill him. Like the Niners should kill the Giants, and I do think the Giants are all right. They kind of saved their season last week. They were down 20-0, and they end up coming back, and I think they scored like 5 of 6 straight drives or 5 of 5 straight drives. It was actually like, and I get it's the Cardinals, but it was actually a crazy comeback. But still, Niners minus 10.5. You got to expect them to do it. Like the Niners killed the Steelers in week 1. And then I think the Rams have looked pretty good over the first 2 weeks, and they easily handled the Rams, especially in that second half. This week, you have a banged-up Giants team that it's probably not going to be very good. So overall, I think the Niners are going to take care of business pretty easily.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with Niners minus 10. I do. Do you know what's going on with Brandon Ayuk? Is he going to play tonight? You don't know?
I'm not sure. No, I mean, it seems like maybe, but he'll probably be limited. Last week, he did stay in the game, but he only played like half the snaps.
Okay.
So he didn't really play that much,
All right. Well, we'll see, I guess, with Brandon Ayuk. But yeah, I think Niners minus 10.5. That's a pretty safe bet this week. All right, and for my next bet, I'm going to take the Broncos versus the Dolphins. I'm going to take Dolphins money line. Honestly, my goal this week. Last week, I told you guys I really wanted to be aggressive to get back into the league because Matt had like a $600 lead over me. Right now, we're kind of even, right? I'm up by a little bit, but we're pretty even. So I don't want to be as risky this week. I had a good week. I don't think that's going to be every single week. I'm going to make $1,300. I'm just going to go 250 Dolphins money line. The Broncos have been falling apart. Russell Wilson has looked good in the first half of games and then just can't play quarterback in the second half. Their defense has looked bad. They've lost to Jimmy Garoppolo and Sam Howell. I mean, what's going on there? And the Dolphins look like one of the best teams in the NFL so far. I think this is a pretty safe bet. I'm taking the Dolphins money line. I'm putting $250 on it, and I'm going to start it off with a pretty conservative bet.
I don't think that this is like an awful bet, but I don't really think it's worth it. Like they're minus 280. Like they're pretty much heavy favorites. Like, yeah. And the Broncos have been in both of the games that they've played. They barely lost in week 1 by a point, and last week they lost by 2 because they didn't get the 2-point conversion. Now, granted,
to be fair, they didn't get a Hail Mary. Yeah,
it was a Hail Mary to close out that one. And those teams aren't very good. The Broncos are better, or I'm sorry, the Dolphins are better.
Yeah,
but I don't really think there's a lot of upside with this, so that's why I don't love it. It'll probably hit, but there's also a decent chance that the Broncos come away with this one just because they've played solid football so far. They've been close in games. Yeah, they haven't won. Russell Wilson and that offense has looked better. Jerry Jeudy missed week 1 coming off of a hamstring pull. He's back now. He didn't play. I don't know if he played all the snaps last week, but he wasn't that effective. Maybe he's a little bit more involved in the offense. I could see an upset for the Broncos. Is it likely? No, but I could see it. So that's why I don't like this bet. So then move into another pretty safe money line, and this is why I think it's just a little bit better of a bet. But I'm taking the Patriots over the Jets. The Jets look awful with Zach Wilson. Last week, I hammered Cowboys. I think it was like 9 points. It felt like a very obvious lock. It ended up hitting very easily. The Cowboys demolished them. And then this week, you have the Patriots against them. And the money line for this one is only minus 150 for the Patriots. That is really low in my opinion. So I'm going to be putting, what is it, $250 on that one. So I like it. I mean, $250 on minus 150 for the Patriots against a Jets team. Zach Wilson, guess what, guys? Looking into the future, guess what we're going to see? We're going to see Zach Wilson throwing a bunch of interceptions. Again, I told you guys this would happen last week. And fast forward, it's going to happen again. Christian Gonzalez has been great for the Patriots. We know that Bill Belichick just terrorizes quarterbacks that aren't good. Guess what? Zach Wilson sucks. Like, what else do we need to see from him? He's terrible. He was awful last week against the Cowboys. The Jets look like a complete mess. People are like tweeting out stuff, getting all like butthurt. Sauce Gardner's deleting his Twitter. The Jets are a mess. They're going to lose to the Patriots. Their season's over. That's just the honest truth, even though it's rough to hear. But I'm taking Patriots minus 50. I'm just going to keep betting against the Jets all season. And I'm going to keep winning money because I'm going to keep betting against the Jets. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I thought the other weird thing about the Jets is like Breece Hall had 9 yards. What are you doing? He's your best offensive player, not named Garrett Wilson. And Garrett Wilson is relying on Zach Wilson getting him the ball, which he's not, right? So I don't know. If they don't use Breece Hall in this game, I'm going to be very, very confused again. Even if they do, I think they're just, you're not going to beat Belichick with Zach Wilson as your quarterback.
So for that reason, that's why I'm taking the Patriots this week as my lock of the week. So far, 2 for 2. Going to make it 3 for 3. Easy bet. Bet against Zach Wilson.
All right, for my next bet, I'm taking the Bills and Commanders. I'm going to take the over on points in this game. Give me the over 44.5 points. I'm going to put $150 on it. Here's the reason I think that, right? Neither defense this year so far has been fantastic. I know the Bills defense is definitely better. They shut out Jimmy G, but that's not a great accomplishment. The Commanders defense, outside of their defensive line, hasn't been great. Their secondary has been getting sliced up. And I thought both quarterbacks looked really, really good last week. Both quarterbacks, I think, scored 38 points, was it? 36, something? Over 35 for each of them. They've been looking good. They both got good receivers. I think that this game is going to go over 44.5 points. I think you could see a Josh Allen masterclass. I think you could see Sam Howell dropping some dimes. I mean, that one he threw to Terry over the safety past the corner, that was beautiful. I have a lot of faith in these quarterbacks. I think over 44.5 is a good bet. I'm putting 150 on it.
I think it's solid. I hate touching over-unders just because the flow of the game can change up. Even though, like, if you're expecting a big offensive game and then something happens early on, there's a couple turnovers, the style of play changes a lot of times, but your logic's there. I mean, what are you getting? You need like 22 you basically need like a 24-21 game and it hits.
Yeah.
That should definitely be expected. The Bills might put up over 30, but then we should also expect the Commanders to put up, like 17, 20 points pretty easily. Like, they should be able to do that. So I like it. I think it's pretty safe. I think in terms of an over-under, your logic's all there. So I think it's a good bet.
And then for my next bet, talking about the Cowboys and the Cardinals, the Cowboys are favored by 12, and I'm telling you they're going to hit it. The Cowboys last week were favored by 9.5 against the Jets. They won by 20, and I think the Cardinals are, shockingly, a worse team. Josh Dobbs looked good for 2 quarters, and then he decided to play like Josh Dobbs. This offense doesn't have any talent. The receivers are not going to get open against Stephon Gilmore, Trayvon Diggs, Micah Parsons. Who's going to block him? Rookie, 6th overall pick, Paris Johnson. Yeah, bro, good luck in your third game blocking Micah Parsons. The Cowboys offense is going to have their way with Arizona's defense. I don't see out of all of the Spider-Verses that exist, I don't see one that the Cowboys don't cover this game. I think the Cowboys minus 12 is pretty much as close to a lock as you can get.
Yeah, so Mike, the only thing I disagree with there is that you're putting $200 and you should be putting more. I'm putting $250, and I'm gonna win a little bit more money than you because of that. Because I think this is, I don't want to say it's a lock because the spread is so high, but it's a near lock. I mean, this is the first game of 3 this week that we are both betting on, which is the most that we've done so far this season. And I mean, what are we expecting, dude? Like, you mentioned Josh Dobbs' offense isn't good. The defense isn't good. Now, they've been a little bit better than I thought. Like, they've been competitive in games. That's why, like, I'm not, like, all in on this one. But the Cowboys are really good, and they have the most cake schedule, like, ever to start the first 3 games of a season. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to beat the shit out of these teams. So that's what we're betting again. I mean, I think I might be taking Cowboys every single week so far this year. I believe I have. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep doing it as long as they play this competition.
Yeah, I'll do that until they play the Niners, and then I will be taking Niners money line when the Cowboys are like 6-0 playing them.
And then moving forward from the Cowboys, the next team that we both bet on, the Steelers money line. And I'm only putting 100 on it. Mike, you're putting what, 200 on
I'm
it?
putting 200 on it, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm putting 100. Mike's putting 200 on this one. And I don't think this is like super for sure. The Steelers offense has been abysmal. They lead the NFL in 3 and outs. Their offense isn't good. Najee Harris has looked terrible. He's looked really slow. The offensive lines look really slow. And most of the Steelers' problems can go back to Matt Canada, their offensive coordinator. But the difference is that TJ Watt against Jimmy Garoppolo and that pretty, I'm not going to say bad Raiders offense, but just kind of unspectacular Raiders team. And they're good. They're going to win games. They beat the Browns. The Browns are a better team than the Raiders are. So I'm looking at it. They're underdogs in this one. I like the Steelers money line. I think they're going to win. I'm not extremely confident, but it's one that we're both like, hey, let's throw a little bit on this. We think the Steelers are going to win this game.
Yeah, and obviously I agree. I'm putting double the money on there. I just think when I look at matchups, of teams that aren't like super, super talented, that I think neither of these teams are, I look at the coaches, and there's not more of a coaching mismatch than it is Mike Tomlin and Josh McDaniel. Also, you look at the Raiders, you think, oh, well, they have pieces on offense. Yeah, doesn't Josh Jacobs average like 1.7 yards per carry so far this year, and he's going against the Steelers? Okay, that's your answer. I think the Steelers offense, if they're going to figure it out, it's going to have to be week 3 against the Raiders. That's going to be the worst defense they play all year for the most part. So I have faith that Kenny Pickett will look like an NFL quarterback this week, which he hasn't yet this year. But I got to take the Steelers, way better coached, way better defense, and I think the offense does enough. $200 on the money line, and I'm flipping what you did last with the Cowboys. I'm putting more money, so I'm going to win more money on this one, Matt.
And then for the last game that we're both betting, Eagles, Buccaneers, we are both taking the Eagles -5. And for me, it really comes down to one reason. First off, though, the Eagles offense hasn't looked that great. We've talked about that. They've still been able to put up points. They've still been able to do all right. But the big mismatch in this one is the Eagles defensive line is absolutely absurd. And they're going up against a bad Buccaneers offensive line. And Baker Mayfield is their quarterback. You start getting interior pressure on Baker Mayfield, and it's not going to look that great. He's looked really good these first couple weeks. Keep in mind who he's played. He has played 2 of the worst defenses in the NFL, in the Vikings and the Bears, and this is a huge test. If Baker looks good this week, I'll eat my words. I'll be wrong about it. And I'm not like necessarily like a Baker hater or anything like that, but I just think this particular matchup is abysmal for him. I would be surprised if the Buccaneers end up scoring more than 2 touchdowns in this one. Honestly, if they score over 14 points, I will be really surprised. In my thought process is the Buccaneers aren't going to put up 14, so you need 20 points from a struggling Eagles offense. Yeah, I'll take that any day of the week. So I'm rocking with the Eagles. I'll be going $200 on them. Mike is also going $200 on them. So overall, I think this is another safe bet. And honestly, I'm surprised, Mike, because a lot of times we have very differing opinions, and this week we are hitting very similar spots.
Yeah, we are. The one thing I will say, and I want to look at this from just like a numbers perspective. If you look at why the line is probably so much in favor of the Buccaneers, I mean, 5 points. If you'd have told me before the season started that week 3 the Eagles would be favored only by 5 for the Buccaneers, I'd have been like, what the hell happened? The line is a little bit in favor because the Buccaneers are 2-0. Not a lot of people expected that, right? They've looked good. They've played good. Baker's played good. The defense has made plays. So I think that this is a little bit of a overhyping of the Buccaneers, saying, oh, well, they're 2-0. They're going against 2-0 Eagles. Yeah, I'm going to take more than 5 points for the Eagles. Give me Eagles -5. I don't think it's particularly close.
And then my final bet before we get into the parlays for this week, which we both hit each of our parlays, so make sure to check these ones out. Last week, honestly, I felt like that was a layup parlay for me. I felt like it was easy.
Yours was easy. I was sweating
I'm going a little bit more
line at the end there for a second, but they came through for me, so,
Yeah. So last bet of the week for me, I'm going to be going a little bit different. I'm going to be going Rams money line over the Bengals. Now, I know this one is risky. I'm taking they're plus 110 on this one. I just think that the Bengals haven't looked that good. They've looked pretty bad. I thought the Rams looked really good in week 1, obviously against the Seahawks. Last week, they don't really get handled by the Niners, but they played well enough to stay in that game. And the offense versus the defense from the Niners offense to the Rams defense perspective is bad. That's a really tough matchup for them. they've been able to hang on to the ball, eat up the clock. Their offense has been really effective throwing the football. I haven't even mentioned his name, but Puka Nacua, amazing. I loved him coming out of BYU. He was a stud there, and he looks completely legit in the NFL. Like, he looks like he's going to be one of the top rookie wide receivers. And it's been 2 weeks, and I don't feel like bad saying that at all. He's looked that good.
Yes.
So I think they're going to pull off the upset. I think going into this year, I thought the Rams were going to be a lot better than most people thought. Like, everyone had them as like, they're going to have a top 5 pick. And I told you, Mike, I said, I think they are going to be a better team than the Seahawks. And that's not ripping the Seahawks. Like, I thought they were a team that can compete for a wild card spot. And so far they've looked like that. Meanwhile, the Bengals look like they're having a disaster season, and I think Joe Burrow got hurt. He re-aggravated his injury. It's gonna be an uphill battle for the Rams in this one, but I'm going with it. Like, this is the team that I really like, so I'm gonna go with the upset in this one.
Yeah, I didn't touch this game just because I don't disagree with anything that you said. I really don't. Like, the Rams look good. You're right; they looked a lot better than I thought. I thought they were going to be bottom 5 pick material, but honestly, I just can't see a world with the Bengals with Joe Burrow on the field starting 0-3. I just can't see it. And I know you want to say, well, the Rams look good, and they have, but the Bengals, I mean, they lost by 3 points against Baltimore last week. Baltimore's a significantly better team. And when you look at the Bengals offense, I mean, Joe Mixon, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, like, they got dudes. They got dudes. And the Rams don't have dudes on defense. So I'm not touching this game because I don't feel good about it. Again, the calf injury to Joe Burrow, I don't know what the severity of that is, but I would probably go with the Bengals here. But Rams money line, I mean, to pick an underdog this week, if you're going to pick an underdog, I don't hate the Rams, to be honest.
Yeah, and then one thing I'll add is I said they were plus 110. They're actually plus 130 now. So it's increased, which kind of based on injury news, you think it would go the other direction, but apparently not.
Yeah, maybe Joe Burrow's healthier than we thought at first. I don't know.
Yeah, so it'll be fun, though. Super Bowl rematch, those are always good. And we get on Monday Night Football.
2 years later, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and then just going through some of the games that we aren't betting. There's a good reason why we aren't betting a few of these. First of all, starting with the Chargers-Vikings. Yeah, the Chargers are now on my no-betting list as well, Matt. Appreciate the advice from last week. Really thought it was a lock that they were going to beat the Titans. Didn't happen. Saints versus Packers, 2 mid-ass teams. I don't feel good about either one of them, so I'm just going to leave it for this week. Texans, Jaguars. I honestly did think about putting some money on the Jaguars, the spread. They look good, but, they only put up 9 points last week, so I'm going to pump the brakes a little bit on my Jags love. Bears, Chiefs, it's going to be a slaughter. I really did think about putting if the line wasn't so high, I would think about putting money on the Chiefs, especially with this whole thing going on with, Allen Williams, which that's a whole separate conversation that we should have. But yeah, and then I think that was the only game that we really didn't touch too much. There's a few other ones, but yeah, those are like the interesting ones that we really just didn't decide to mess with so far. Do you have any reasons why you didn't bet these games, Matt?
Didn't particularly love them. I think the Chiefs one is definitely intriguing, but ended up not going for that one. So, I mean, no, I didn't really. Honestly, this week, I don't feel as confident in week 3 as I did 1 and 2. Like, I feel like 1 and 2, it was just like things that were just automatic. Like, yeah, of course this team's going to win. This week, it's like, I like the Cowboys. I like the Eagles, I like the Niners. Like, it's just like a few teams where I'm like, okay, I feel really confident. But then even for like the Niners and the Cowboys, last week the lines were way lower, and this week they're up more and they're playing better teams. Well, yeah. I guess the Niners aren't, but the Cowboys are. No, they're not really. No. The lines just aren't as nice, So yeah. That's why.
All right, and getting to the best part of the show, the free $50 parlays that we both got to start off the show. Last week, as we've said, we hit both of our parlays. This week, I have a plus 809 parlay. $50 will win me $495. The parlay consists of this, right? 49ers money line against a injury-depleted Giants team tonight. Chiefs money line against the Chicago Bears in Arrowhead, I might add. Bills money line against the Commanders. Jaguars money line against the Texans, who have looked like the worst team in the NFL. I'm taking the Patriots to win by 3 points over the New York Jets. And I'm taking Tyreek Hill touchdown anytime score with the Dolphins against the Broncos. $50 wins me $495 plus 809. What do you think?
I think it's all right. We'll see. You win 809. That's how much you take home?
Yeah, no, it's plus 809. I take home $495.
Okay, so you take home $495. I mean, you like to go for these super risky parlays. Mine is not. Mine's like half the winnings. But last week it worked.
Yeah.
Last week it worked. So let's see.
Yeah.
And then for me, I just mentioned that you like to go for these super risky parlays. I like to take safer ones. Now, I will say, I have a 6-legged parlay, so I can't really talk too much about it being safe.
Super safe, conservative 6-leg parlay. Said every
Now,
better ever.
now here's the thing. Here's the thing. A lot of these teams should just be like absolute gimmies to win. First off, I'll give you the gimmies first. The Niners, the Cowboys, the Chiefs, and the Eagles.
Yep.
I think they're all gimmies. Now the Eagles are only minus 230, but the Cowboys, Chiefs, Niners are all like over like minus 500. So it's like it's pretty rough there. But then the other teams I'm going to bring in are the Patriots and the Seahawks. All of their money line, all favorites, all the money lines, 6 legs. I end up putting, or we get our free $50. If I would win, I would win $202. So overall, I like it.
Matt, did you notice I didn't touch Seattle at all last week and they won, and I didn't touch Seattle at all this week? Is that a coincidence?
Well, they should win. That's the thing. They should definitely win. So I like it. I mean, most likely this is a 6-leg parlay. If you guys have any history betting 6-leg parlays, they usually don't hit. Surprise. Usually one team will absolutely shit the bed for you. But we'll see. If you want to go safer route, I would take out maybe the Seahawks or the Patriots, I guess. I don't know. I feel pretty good about all these teams. Maybe the Seahawks would be like the only one I would take out. But yeah, overall, I mean, win $200 potentially. I like it. I already mentioned to you guys before, I don't love this week as much. If I really love a week and I really want to hammer a team, I will tell you too. That's the other thing. So like we track our winnings and stuff, but so far I've been really confident in the first 2 weeks and it has worked out splendid. This week, we will see. I'm more focused on staying afloat this week than anything, if we're being real.
Yeah, and that's the kind of my philosophy too. I've gotten the lead, and I'm kind of wanting to coast a little bit because I don't want to go balls to the walls like I did last week as much. But hope you guys enjoyed the show. Like I said, we all have our bets in the spreadsheets down below. You can follow our bets week to week, money by money, parlay by parlay, whatever you want to do. Thank you, Matt, for coming on the show, and hope you guys have a good week and you don't waste all your money on Bears money line.